So recently on this channel, I did a reaction to Nightwish, the Poet and the Pendulum, and that video did kinda well, but there were some people in the comment section who are like, Ed, you should have done research on this song before you reacted to it. And well, me, I'm the kind of guy who likes to react to things I've never heard of. I like to go in blind. I like to go in blind without knowing what to expect. I don't do any prior research. So to all those people who are telling me that I should have researched on it, today I'm going to be checking out Tuomas of Nightwish talking about the song. A lot of people are saying it's a sad song. Hopefully today I will get to understand why. Let's go.
So first things first, Tuomas, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you.
Good to hear. So we're talking about Nightwish decades today. So what I want to start with is July 6th, 1969. That was
1996.
sorry, 1996, obviously.
1969.
Do you remember what the dream was at that point? Because that was kind of the day you thought, okay, I'm going to make a new band.
Yeah, not really a dream.
Nightwish was in 1996.
What I do these days, it's not a dream come true. That's a pretty common misunderstanding that people, they come to me and say that you have this Nightwish now and you have been around for 20 years, achieved a lot, you must be living your dream. It's not like that. I had completely different plans for my life when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. Even at the age of 18, I still wanted to be a academically trained scientist.
Right.
Biologist, something like this. And during that day in July 1996, I was just hanging out with my buddies. We had a couple of like small scale metal bands at the time, and I wanted to do something on my own. I felt like I wanted to try my wings with songwriting. So okay, I'll put together this project band. Do a demo or two and see what happens. Nothing serious. So we had absolutely no expectations of any kind at that time.
So how long did it take you to realize that this project, what was to become Nightwish, was different than all the other bands you played in?
That's a long time.
It might have been after the release of the debut album, Angels Fall First. Back in the days I was studying environmental sciences in a university in eastern Finland, and the album came out. It had some attention and I started to feel this itch.
Let me pause there for a second. Quick question. Is Tuomas the only original member remaining? Is he the only member remaining, or there is another original member remaining? Because the lead singers have changed a bunch of times. Marco has left. So how many original members of Nightwish are remaining? If you know, please comment below, because Tuomas formed the band and he's still there until now, like 25 years later. Well, okay, let's go.
Like, this is pretty cool, and I really enjoyed doing the songs, and we even had a few shows in Finland, and that worked out okay-ish. So I kind of saw that there's potential, well, maybe not potential, but I felt really intrigued and drawn to that world of metal and songwriting and touring. So it was in the spring of 1998 that I quit my studies completely and moved back home to my mom and dad, and decided to give this project called Nightwish a few more years.
And very quickly...
Just pause there for a second. If you did that in my country of Kenya, if you did that in my country of Kenya, dear Lord, you stop going to school and then you tell your mom and dad, hi, here in Kenya I want to start a metal band. Anyway, it's fine. It's okay. Well, that is a brave thing. Maybe I don't know where you're watching this from, but where I'm from, if you attempted to do that would lead to very intense consequences. Let's go.
Is there some part of you that still wants to be a scientist? Because obviously Endless Form's most beautiful, heavily inspired by natural sciences.
I'm very, very intrigued by the field of science, natural sciences, and I do read the articles and I follow the scene, and it still interests me. But I don't think, even if given the opportunity, I would never go back to the school and start studying. That's long gone.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So musically then, because you said you wanted to try your hand at songwriting, you wanted something of your own. So what were you looking for that you couldn't find in other bands that you played in, and maybe music that you heard?
The actual aspect of songwriting in these other bands that I was playing back at the time when I was in high
Which bands
school
are these?
and after
Are
high
they
school,
famous bands?
I was more or less a session keyboard player. There were bands like Nattvinden Skrot, Dark Woods Might Be Throwed, The Furthest Shore, and I enjoyed doing that stuff, but I was just the guy who played the keyboard on top of already recorded stuff. And I just felt really strongly drawn towards the songwriting process. And then when I had the chance to try it with Nightwish, with the first demo, I was completely hooked. I realized that this is the thing that I want to do. This is my forte, and this is something that I want to evolve in myself. And 22 years later, here we are.
So for you then, was every album that you made, could you see that evolution?
Very easily. Funny you should mention, a few months ago when we were asked to come up with the songs for this upcoming Decades compilation, I had to go through the whole back catalogue of Nightwish. So actually for the first time ever, I listened through all the albums we ever made in chronological order, starting from Angels Fall First. And that was quite the experience. In a way it was the ultimate nostalgia trip, but it was also like, wow, what were we thinking back in the days? And that has nothing to do with shame or being ashamed of what we have done 20 years ago. But it was just a revelation to me that, wow, this band has really grown. I mean, the essence is still there. When you listen to songs like Elven Path or Beauty and the Beast, it's immediately Nightwish, as is the songs on Endless Forms. But so much has changed. I would never dream of writing lyrics like The Carpenter again. But back in the days, it was the real thing.
Let me just pause there for a second. Have you ever listened to like the very first Nightwish album? I don't think I have. When was Wishmaster and Once released? Around 2004 there? Maybe that's the farthest I've gone. I haven't gone into like very, very, very fast album. So if you have, please comment below and recommend some songs. Recommend some songs, like from the very first Nightwish album, which songs are dope, so that I can compare, with their material right now.
It was what we all wanted to do. It was what I wanted to emotionally express. Right. And I remember that kid. I still can. And in certain ways I miss it. Because it was so innocent, it was so new. Everything was a novelty. So in that sense I do miss certain aspects of it. But I'm just really happy to be here now.
But like you say, I can imagine it is quite a nostalgia trip when you go through everything that you've done. So were there specific moments that stuck out for you, and not necessarily even songs, but kind of things that reminded you of certain moments or certain kind of directions or decisions you made?
I was a bit positively surprised of how well the albums have survived time. Angels Fall First clearly sounds like a demo, that it was. But for example, Oceanborn, it really has a strong atmosphere in it. Still, after almost 20 years. So that was something that I was quite intrigued by. That, wow, these really work, still.
And in terms of what you just mentioned, they feel like snapshots in a way that you can remember the person that you were back then. And so do you remember on Oceanborn what kind of your motivation was back then? Or?
They do bring back those times, like just before the debut album, it was all about these atmospheric gothic metal bands, preferably with a female singer. Theater of Tragedy, The Gathering, The Third and the Mortal, to mention a few. And that influence can so easily be heard from the first album. Then we found the wonders of power metal, Stratovarius, Gamma Ray Halloween, okay, then comes Oceanborn. So it's
sophisticated
all
words.
very reflective. At some point, I got totally lost in the world of film music. Thus became Century Child once, and we have been on that film music metal path ever since. So every album is a reflection of its own time. Evolution is a really good term to describe it. I feel pride over the fact that we have always been, at least I personally think that we have been able to take the music to a different level without ever losing the originality of what this band is about. But never repeat ourselves by doing the same album twice. There's always something new on each album.
No, that's very true.
You mentioned those film scores and the influence of them. So, and I feel this is kind of a turning point for you as a songwriter. So what was it about soundtracks, about kind of the theatrics, or in a way, I don't know if theatrics is the right word, but kind of the.
I guess it's the idea of combining visuals with audio that's always intrigued me. Whenever I write songs, I visualize the story that I want to tell very strongly. And for example, I might use some visual aids whenever.
Just pause there for a second. There he said using visuals with audio. Kind of reminds me when Nightwish are performing, and then the song during the live performance, you see fire shooting out of the stage whenever. So when like Flo Jansen does, you see fire doing, you know. And there's also there's a performance for The Greatest Show on Earth where they use fireworks when, you know, like he does ding ding and then, yeah, it just reminded me of that.
Playing, I have some art or some books in front of me, just so I get the visual thing as well. It helps me create. So I guess that's one thing, and the other thing is that film music often is quite grandiose, big, and I'm just a sucker for grand music.
So it's the epicness kind of.
Epicness, yes, yeah. That's it.
So if we continue throughout the albums, then is it fair to say that on Dark Passions Play, especially around that time, was the most difficult for the band?
Yeah, I think it's by far our darkest album. There are some lighter moments like Amaranth or Last of the Wilds there, but overall it's pretty dark. Again, a reflection of what happened in 2005, 2006.
Right, and in that sense then, does writing about it, creating these epic songs, does that help deal with kind of are those the emotions kind of, let me put it differently,
I know what you mean.
In terms of, is it a cathartic thing in a way?
Catharsis is a good way of putting it. The ultimate example being The Poet and the Pendulum, the song where I literally kill myself in the song so that I wouldn't have to do it in real life. And it was a very cathartic thing to do. And back in the days, it just had to be done. Ended up being a wonderful piece of music. And we still perform it live every now and then. And it's a bit tricky because that's 12 years ago. I'm not that person anymore. I'm past all that. But it's still there, immortalized in that one song.
Right.
And to play that live, it's very... it's quite a paradox.
Does it remind
There's quite
you?
a turmoil inside of my head when we play it.
Right, does it remind you of
It
kind
does,
of the
it really does, yeah. I remember sometimes telling the monitor engineer to please cut off all vocals from my in-ears, just for the duration of that song, so I don't hear the lyrics.
Okay, so that was a part one of a, I think, two-part interview. I think I'm going to check out the second part later. I don't think the second part talks about Nightwish's older music. The second part talks about Nightwish's newer music, not their older music, and I wanted to know more about The Poet and the Pendulum. I actually didn't know that this, someone had written me a comment saying that, the song talks about how after Tarja was fired from Nightwish, how Tuomas was blamed for it, and he wanted to kill himself, just as he said in the song, just as he just said in the interview. So I was looking for more detail on that. If you know where I can get like a full breakdown on the song. If there's someone who's done a full breakdown, please leave me that comment in the comment section below. I would want to know more about that song. I'm also going to go check out like a lyrical video later on, maybe check out all the lyrics and dissect it for myself. But that was a really cool interview. I didn't know all that stuff about Nightwish. Yeah, thanks for checking it out with me. If you enjoyed it, smash like and subscribe, because I talk about everything rock music on this channel. And then on this screen I'm going to leave other videos regarding Nightwish. I've done reactions on the channel, so make sure to check them out. Alright, cheers.